What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. My name is Jordan Parhar, and today we are back talking about Big Brother Canada 5 live on a Wednesday night on robhasawebsite.com with some good friends of mine. First is a man who now knows that Arissa Cox is not Big Brother. It's Brent Wolgamott, ladies and gentlemen. Brent, how are you?
That's right. Like I told you people, Arissa Cox and I have a final two. She admitted it on Twitter, and I am there for it.
Yeah, and for the people who weren't on Twitter today, Arissa tweeted Brent and said, "Brent, hey, I love you, but just so you know, I'm not production, so don't come at me with these."
She didn't say it like that.
That's kind of what Arissa was saying, and I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, good, thank you, Arissa. We've cleared the air." So now Brent knows Arissa's not production. So
yeah, she's not Big Brother. She's Big Sister. Don't you know, Brent?
Yes.
Final two still on? Yes.
Exactly. And now Brent knows. And joining us today, our alumni guest is a man who, I've announced that I'm retiring from the podcast, but I will admit I am going to miss having this guy on the podcast every season. He's so fun to talk to. One of my favorite guests of all time. And I'm so glad he made some time for us today. Give it up for Godfrey Manguiza, the lady pleaser, ladies and gentlemen. Godfrey, how are you?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
We're good, Godfrey. How are you, man? How have you been? It's been a while since we had you on the podcast.
Not bad, the usual. Just keeping up with Big Brother, trying to see how the vets are doing this season. not too pleased, but hey, there's still hope, like it's all up to Ica or Kev. There's still hope.
There's still hope. There is still hope. Just to set things up for you guys, we are live on robhasawebsite.com. We've got the chat room going. If you want to check that out, it's on the show page. You can go to chatwing.com/RHAPpy Hour for that. We're taking your questions throughout the show. So if you want to send those in, you can tweet me. I am at Jordan Parhar. Make sure you use hashtag RHAPpy Hour. We will get into those later on in the show. And just to let you guys know, we are going to start by recapping the episode. We will get into the live feeds a little later on. So I guess, let's just jump in and talk about this episode here. So Godfrey, I guess the big thing here is Demetri wins the power of veto once again, saves himself again. Mm-hmm. This guy is an absolute monster. How do you feel about Demetri and his game so far?
Oh, I've been a fan of Demetri, like, soon as he walked in that house, like I just saw something in him. I'm like, you know what? I think this kid can actually go the distance and win. And it just so turns out he's been a calm beast. And socially, he hasn't done too bad. I kind of feel like Ica, as much as she has helped his game, now that it's coming down to the end, she could also hurt his game really badly. But overall, I've been impressed with Demetri. Like I can't say the same about the other vets and jury, so he's done pretty good.
well, Godfrey, we might as well, that you've brought it up, let's talk about it. I mean, big theme of this season is the vets have turned on themselves. They're all sitting in jury right now. Perhaps it looks like now we're going in. Ica's on the block going into tomorrow. She could be joining them. How do you feel about this season in terms of the vets and their gameplay? Like, just from your perspective, this must be hard for you to watch because you could have been one of these vets, and instead you're sitting at home and you're seeing these people vote themselves out. So talk to me about these vets and just your take on them as a whole, Godfrey.
Like, it's just incredible, man. Like I feel like they almost, like, these vets got post-traumatic stress disorder from their past season. They haven't quite gotten over that because they came in and they literally played the exact same way, with the exception of a few. Like, Cindy really switched it up. And even though she ultimately got voted out, it was really not her doing as much. But overall, I just feel like everybody's game has been a mirror image of what they did in their own season. It's almost like when they got the call, they were like, you know what? They calling me. My game must have been really good. I got to do the same thing. And it's like, no, they're probably calling you because you did bad. And they want you to redeem yourself. Like, we're not asking for an encore. This is a second chance. Not the comeback season. Like, it's a second chance. So, like, honestly, like, I'm really disappointed because it's an embarrassment. Like, I don't mean to be harsh. The only good thing is at least they've now written the blueprint for any future vets who may come back. Now we know what not to do, So, like, you can't really blame them. Like, it's never been done before. It's not like they've ever gone back to the game and gotten a chance to play it. But still, I'm just disappointed. You know, like you said, it almost seems like a squandered opportunity. Like you got a chance to do it again, and only one so far. Only two have done better than they did the original season. You know, so yeah, not too impressed.
Well, let's talk about these two first. Ika. I mean, Ika has really turned things around from the first time she played this game. Godfrey, you're really good friends with Ika in real life. So, just how do you think Ika has done up to this point, and what do you think Ika needs to do to save herself? Do you like this approach that Ika is taking in the diary room, where she was saying, Jackie is done, I'm going to annihilate her and kill her? She's been a little explosive this week. So what do you think of that approach that Ika is taking?
Yeah.
So what do you, yeah.
I'll tell you what that is.
Go ahead, Godfrey. Sorry about that.
That is a classic case of blockitis. When you've been on the block that many times, I was on the block 5 times, and you kind of start getting delusions of grandeur, where you have survived so many evictions and you start thinking you can really do anything. And I just feel like Ika right now, she's trying to hype herself up. You know, she's trying to literally tell herself what she knows might not be the truth. But if she says it enough times, then maybe Jackie really is going home. But I think deep down inside, she knows, like the fat lady singing right now, it's going downhill. As far as the game goes, I've been really, really happy with how Ika's played a game. Like she's done a complete 180 from when she first played. I coached her and warned her to do if you get a chance to go back inside. The only thing I'd say though is, like, you almost saw it coming, you know, like she was just going at such a high pace. Played the game so hard from week 1, and it's like she was bound to crash and burn eventually, you know, like very few people can do that. Even if you look at all the great winners, they started out slow, and towards the end, they dominated. But it's really rare to see somebody be the queen of the house all the way up until the end. So I almost kind of saw it coming, and I just hope she can pull something off this week, you know? Like, I don't even know what advice I could give her, because I feel like she's already burnt some bridges. Like, just watching the episode tonight, ripping Jackie, I'm like, you do know Jackie could be one of the few votes you need, right? And the half-assed apology to Karen, I'm like, that could have been her opportunity to really say, Karen, oh my God, I didn't even know I was hurting you. I'm so sorry. I'm devastated. I want to do anything to make it up. Like, really, like, you know, like, suck up to her, because these are the people who are going to be able to keep you. And I feel like, yeah, watching the episode tonight, it was like she was just digging a hole right there.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, she's
yeah.
It's just that the like the funny thing was Jackie tries to jump in, and Jackie's like, "Oh, so it's okay to be vicious, you know, to me, but it's not to Karen."
She did bring it upon herself, yeah.
It's like, okay, Jackie, just like, this isn't your conversation. Just back off a little bit. Like, let Ika do her thing. You're kind of asking for it. Don't poke the bear. But yeah, you know, it is interesting. I mean, Ika on the previous episode was trying to play it off like, oh, I'm going to explode and, you know, try to, you know, help Demetri. This is strategy. This isn't I mean, I don't think this is strategy, right, Godfrey? This is just Ika.
It's insanity. I don't know what kind of strategy that is.
No, right? That's, yeah. I mean, she's plucked. She's gone a little stir crazy. That's fine. It happens when you're in the house, but it's bound to happen at some point or another.
It would only make sense, Jordan and Brett. It would only make sense if she actually wanted Demetri to stay, and if she was really looking out for him and was saying, you know what, I'm gonna make myself the bigger target, so they take me out and they don't take my poor little boy toy out. But then I hear her saying, oh, Demetri, you wouldn't use the veto on me. And I'm like, wait a minute. You were willing to ruin your whole game so that you're a bigger target. But now you want him to use the veto on yourself. So it's not making sense. Maybe she's bad, like she's having this whole battle in her own mind. Like, oh, should I save myself? Who knows? But something just didn't make sense today.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, Dre's really gone back and forth a lot. We've seen on these episodes, for the past, couple of episodes, she's been going on saying, I want to get rid of the vets. Let's get rid of all of them. I'm against Ika. Ika sucks, blah, 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 blah. And then the episode comes on, and then Ika's really upset. She confides in Dre. She cries to Dre. Dre says in the diary room, she's like, hey, I just seeing Ika cry, I feel bad. I want to help her out.
She's getting emotional now.
Yeah, and she's like, I want to save her, and I want to go to the end with Ika. And then she comes up with this plan saying, look, Ika, Demetri has to be a gentleman. He has to save you with this veto. He's got to use it on you and not himself. He's got to be a good boyfriend or a good showmance, which is just completely asinine and ridiculous. It's like, how do you expect? I mean, it's really insulting.
Foolish. It's insulting his intelligence.
It is insulting his intelligence. It's like, you really think that Demetri is going to consider it? And it seemed like this was a storyline in the episode a lot tonight, was that, maybe Demetri is going to use the veto, but it's like, I don't really think that was
unless he lost his mind.
Unless he lost his mind.
Never a possibility.
Never really a possibility. And Brent, can you back this up just based on this wasn't a consideration at all from Demetri's?
No, it wasn't a consideration. It wasn't even a consideration from Ika's point of view until Dre started talking to her, and then Ika got a little bit butthurt that Demetri never even really floated the possibility for a second. Like, I think what Ika wanted was for Demetri's to say, well, maybe I should use the veto on you. What do you think? And for her to say, no, please don't do that. And then him go ahead and use the veto on himself.
She wanted the offer, just to
she wanted the offer. Exactly. He didn't even put that out there. So she kind of got a little pissed about that. I can't even believe that the show spent so much time on this, because this plan was so stupid from the beginning. As I said on the roundtable on Sunday, Dre and William both thought they had an ingenious plan here. They really overestimate their abilities as players in the game to actually get somebody like Demetri's, who's that big of a target, to use the veto on somebody else when he's on the block. So I couldn't believe that they spent time on this. I wish they would have spent more time on the fact that Jackie was the replacement nominee, because there were things, and again, my feed was cutting out tonight for the show, but there were things in the episode that were not in the episode that I felt like should have been included insofar as why Jackie ultimately ended up on the block.
Yeah, I mean, from the episode we saw tonight, we didn't really see any reasoning for Jackie to go on the block. Basically, all we saw was Karen talking in the third person, going up to Kevin, saying, Karen has to go talk to Kevin Robert Martin to get Karen off the block. I was like, wait, I was like, is AJ taking over your DRs for a second here? Like, why are you speaking in the third person? But for whatever reason, Karen does this. She goes to Kevin. Kevin just seems to buy it, and that's it. There's no discussion. It's just, we didn't see anything from Jackie's perspective. We didn't see Jackie campaigning. We didn't see Kevin's thought process. So, Brent, can you just fill us in? Like, what was the thinking in terms of Kevin putting up Jackie over Karen here?
Well, two things. One, he's done a lot of work with Karen in the past. I guess it is 4 days or so. Bruno did a lot of work with Karen coming out of last week, trying to repair the relationship between Kevin and Karen. I don't really buy it. I really feel like that they're, obviously you can tell from the diary room is that Karen's really not fond of Kevin all that much. But the thing that happened with Jackie that sent her onto the block is that the day of the veto competition, and then it was revealed the day after that this happened, Jackie told Demetri's that basically he was the target and that he needed to win the veto. Good luck. And Kevin had never specified a target. In fact, Kevin, when he made these initial nominees, he really wanted Ika to go and for Demetri's to stay, because then Demetri's would be closer to him. And Ika even said that right before Kevin made his nominees. Ika said, if I leave the house, I'm going to make sure that Demetri's works with you so that you guys can stay in the house longer. You guys need each other. Add to the fact that the show didn't show it, but Kevin actually threw the veto tonight. He did not actually go all out for it. He knew those car parts and everything about the car front, back, and sideways. If he wanted to win that veto tonight, I think he could have won it. The fact that he threw it, he just wanted to make sure he landed in the middle of the pack somewhere, and that I don't think he knew that Demetri
not do any further damage.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to win HOH and veto, because that really is the kiss of death. I actually support Kevin on this, especially if he wants Demetri to stay in the house. There's no reason for him to win veto here and draw any more attention to himself.
Yeah, that's interesting because on the episode, it seemed like from the DRs we saw, Kevin didn't express that he was throwing it. Kevin said, he's like, oh, I thought I knew this better than I do. And then, you know.
He did.
But he didn't. Yeah, so he did. It's odd that
they might have just cut that part. Although they like to make him look like the strategist, so I don't know why they wouldn't.
I don't. Yeah, right. Like, why wouldn't they show that?
Absolutely, they would have milked that if anything.
I agree, Godfrey. Right? Like that would have just made sense. So I don't know what happened there. Something's lost in translation. We'll have to ask Kevin after the season what was going on there. But anyway, yeah. I mean,
so that's why Jackie went on the block.
That is why Jackie goes on the block.
Yeah.
Got it.
Jackie basically made Kevin look like an ass in front of Demetri's because, you know, if and this is after this came out after Demetri's had already won the veto and everybody knows he's staying. So Kevin knows Demetri's is staying in the house for another week. And now Demetri's has been told by one house guest that he was actually his target. So that was why he was so upset with Jackie.
It's almost like Jackie was trying to gain some favor from Demetri's just to say, see, I'm giving you a little information now that she knows he's staying.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's up blowing up in her face, kind of like how this whole game has gone for Jackie, really. Everywhere she goes, she's just falling.
Carnage.
Yeah, she's stepping on a landmine. You know, no matter where she goes, I think she just needs to, like, chill. She needs to do she needs to one up you, Godfrey. She's just got to sleep from what you did the first couple weeks. She's just got to sleep for the next couple weeks.
But I don't think that's even gonna work for Jackie, man. Like,
probably not, man. Like, because is there anything like what would you, if you could give Jackie some advice, Godfrey, here in this moment? What would you say to her? I mean, she's got to survive this. That's if she survives this eviction.
Here's the thing with Jackie. Like, I almost feel like she's been playing not even for second place. I feel like she's been playing for third place, you know, which is really groundbreaking in Big Brother. Usually people try to play for second. But, like, here's the thing with her. At first, I was really I gave her game no respect at all. Because I was like, come on, you haven't won anything. You haven't done anything. You haven't even nobody has seen you as a target. Now, at the same time, that does say something about her game, the fact that nobody really wants to get her out. But the only thing that I think hurts her is too many people are playing that same type of game as Jackie is. And too many people are doing it better than her. If she was the only person this season who was laying low, who was going on the block week after week, and not even being considered for eviction, I'd be like, you know what? That's pretty impressive. But right now, you have William, who arguably is doing the same thing. Karen's doing the same thing. And freaking, what's his name, is doing the same thing. Dylan's even doing the same thing right now. Not only are they doing the same thing as you are, Jackie, they're actually avoiding going on the block. The game look worse. The only way it could have helped her is if she was able to get all those people out. So she's the only one who's playing the middle. But there's so many middle players. And like I said, the other middle players are playing it better than she is right now. They have better relationships and they're not expendable. Dre's not expendable at this point.
Yeah,
but
true.
Jackie, she kind of is.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like if Jackie went home this week, nobody's game would be devastated. When I played the middle, if I went home, some people's game could have collapsed because they were dependent on me. So that's the only thing I feel like Jackie has done really. She's like at this point, she needs to do something.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Jackie's not dependable. I mean, she spills tea to everybody depending on who's in power every week. And look, there are a lot of people that do that. There are a lot of people that float from power to power. You know, obviously, if your enemy wins power, you want to try to go have a conversation with them and at least try to stay off the block. But she does it in such an overt way where it's not even there's no, as I said last night or 2 nights ago, there's no subtlety to her game. Yeah, it's so transparent. There's no subtlety to her game. There's no nuance to her game. It's just you're trying to save your own skin here, and we know what you're doing. You're selling out the people who were your friends last week. How do I have any guarantee that you're not going to sell me out next week when I'm not in power anymore? And she also gets really brave.
Absolutely.
As Ika pointed out, she gets really brave when other people are on the block. Like, she didn't talk this way to Ika when Ika was in power or when Ika wasn't even
But
considered.
now she's on the big set. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
And everybody, it's not just that Ika, everybody else sees that too. They see how she acts and how she was all nice with Ika and calling a truce last week. And then all of a sudden, the minute Kevin gets power, Jackie completely disowns Ika and won't even talk to her. It's just a bad look.
Oh, poor Jackie. Poor Jackie. Well, we'll have to see where the votes lie tomorrow, and we'll talk about that in the live feed portion, which I think we'll get to pretty quick here. I guess really the only thing we have to talk about from the episode is there was this huge party, Godfrey, where Dylan is like kissing everybody, which I thought was
boy.
I thought that
Poor
was
Dylan,
great.
man.
Couldn't kiss him. I actually thought that, you know what,
that
Dylan,
kiss from William and Karen is the most action he's gotten all season, man. Poor guy.
Godfrey, it's kind of like you on our season.
Yeah, kind of like me.
Yeah, but I remember we would have the party. There was one party and their feeds were down, and I remember Godfrey was just like, all the girls were kissing each other, everyone's doing this, and Godfrey was just like, man, like why can't I get in on this?
I'm just sitting in the corner, man. I'm like, tag me in, Jordan.
Yeah, we were both looking at each other. We're like, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah,
so good.
Like, should we make out with each other? Like, what's going on here, man? Yeah, I'm trying to get some girl action, man.
Yeah,
so
no.
I sympathize with Dylan, man. Like, I know it can be tough, man.
so funny. I did enjoy
Emily's
that.
gone.
Emily's gone. Karen's his only option at this point.
Dre too.
Yeah, Dre.
What's available?
Yeah, he had that kiss with Dre during the
last night.
Big
Yeah,
Brother,
has that carried over at all?
That.
Like, oh yeah. So
they had to kiss for a while. They had the Big Brother gave them a task. Each one of them had to do these dares, and they pulled chips out of the bag to see who had to do what. And Dylan and Dre had to kiss for like 24 seconds or something like that.
That's a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
Should have been some tongue in there or something.
Ever since then, he's been a little bit touchy-feely with Dre, and they really do have a good relationship where they talk a lot of game and strategy. I would say he's still closer to Karen, but Dre is probably his number 2.
Interesting. Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to say this really quickly about Jackie too. The other thing that Jackie she has is nobody, because everybody else in the house has somebody fighting for them in some way or another. And going into a triple eviction, like let's just say that she survives this. Let's say Ika goes home, Jackie survives. Jackie is easy to put up on the block in a triple eviction, and who the hell is going to vote to save her? Who is going to vote to save her? Who is going to use their one vote to save on Jackie? So I really think
Jackie.
One way or another, she's done on Thursday night.
Well, let's talk about this just from the people in the house right now in terms of the vote. Godfrey, does it make sense to keep someone like Jackie around if we look at it from that perspective? Or, you mentioned there's all these people in the middle right now. Does it make sense for those middle people who are trying to get one of those final 2 slots? They want to be one of those people that is taken to the end at the final 3.
Yep.
Does it make sense for those people like your Williams, like your Dre's, like your Dylans to vote out Jackie in this spot now and keep a threat like Ika in the game? Or does it make more sense, do you think, for those guys to turn on Ika and to vote her out and keep Jackie around?
You're talking in terms of the triple tomorrow, or going?
I'm talking in terms of I'm talking about just the initial eviction. So just Ika versus Jackie.
Oh, the initial eviction.
Yes. So does it make sense?
Honestly, like for me, I think what makes the most sense at this point is to keep Ika, because that triple, like you want to have 3 spots on that seat, And if Ika goes, now you only got 2 spots and 1 spot for Demetri's. The other spot is open for any one of those people. But with Ika staying, if almost any newbie wins that triple eviction HOH, they are putting Ika and Demetri and Kevin on the block.
Yeah.
So for the other newbies, they're safe. And if if Kevin cannot win, so Kevin, no matter what happens tomorrow, he's sitting on the triple eviction. Like he has to win veto. His game is done. Yeah, so don't even talk about Kevin. But for Demetri's could win HOH. And if Ika stays, who is he putting on the block? So it's a toss-up. But for me, honestly, if I was one of those newbies, I'd feel much safer going into the triple with Ika and Demetrius and Kevin all there. Because I'd know that there is no way in hell if I'm sitting next to any one of those people that I'm going home. So if one of them goes off, you know there's 2 threats on and you stay. But if Ika's gone and Demetrius wins HOH, it's Kevin and it's you and one other newbie. So like there's more uncertainty there as opposed to having 3 big threats.
No, that definitely makes sense. It's just interesting, just seeing where they're coming from, because they don't necessarily know that tomorrow is a triple. I think have they been speculating, Brent, that it's a double or triple as well?
Strong speculation though, just like a little hunch that maybe
they've been thinking they know that a double's coming either this week or next week. They know that for certain, but they also know that there's not enough time left to get everybody out of the house. So they think that, is there 2 doubles? Is there going to be an instant eviction?
And then instant. Oh.
And they did bring up a triple, and they threw shade on it and said, oh, well, that was terrible the first time they did it.
Oh, people always do that.
Yeah, why would they do it again? Of course. So they're going to be really shocked. And by the way, I'll remind Godfrey, I'm sure he doesn't need to be reminded, but Kevin was the outgoing H the first time around. Kevin was the outgoing H going into the triple the last time. He couldn't win.
Are you kidding me? No way.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, remember? Yeah, last time when he went home, Godfrey.
Yeah. So this time he's the outgoing H.
Oh yeah, he had just sent home Bobby. I remember.
Yeah, he sent home Bobby, and then he was so happy, and then he went right out the door. Which is poor Kevin. Same thing would happen again.
To win. Yeah, Kevin needs to win that. He needs to win that veto, or else it's over.
I will say this though, that JP, you were asking about what are the options as far as the vote goes as of these nominees. I think most people at this point, once Jackie is named the replacement nominee, expect Ika to go home. The argument for evicting Jackie is really twofold. One, obviously you keep a bigger target in the house in Ika, and maybe you don't have to go on the block. But 2, Jackie is really, really, really good when it comes to all the days and the events and what happened first and last. She has studied all of that front, back, and sideways. Remember, she was the one that had the illegal cheat sheet. She had the cheat sheet made of pasta
that Ika smashed.
That Ika destroyed, right? So Jackie, seriously,
I heard about that on
she has been Jedi drilling with anybody who will do it with her. Bruno and Kevin for a while, obviously, when they were together, and then she disowned them and went to other people. But she is a formidable opponent for many of these competitions coming down the stretch. So if you want to,
the thing you mentioned too is she's not trustworthy. So if you're sitting in there, like, what good is it to keep somebody down to final 3 or final 2 or whatever, if you have no guarantee that they'd even consider taking you? Because right now nobody knows where her head is at.
Exactly.
Nobody knows who she plans on going the distance with. Is it Ika? Is it she just kissed Ika today? Who knows who it is? Right. So that's one thing. If I was in the house, I'd be so paranoid having somebody like Jackie just occupying space in there. And Jordan, you know this. Like, there's so much paranoia when you don't know what somebody's gonna do, when you have no clue. And I heard certain people in my season who I had no clue what they were gonna do. Like one, I won't mention, but hey, like, and you were just stressed out thinking about it, going like, why are they so difficult to understand? Like, it's always better to have somebody who you have somewhat of an idea of if they'll take you or not. And Jackie right now, I don't know if she's doing it on purpose or maybe she doesn't know what she's gonna do. So like it's really twofold.
The problem with Jackie is that she's so desperate. I saw somebody say in the chat room say this earlier, and it was exactly my thoughts. She's so desperate to be a part of any alliance that she will say anything to be a part of that alliance. But in doing
spill all the beans.
Right. She shows the new alliance that she's willing to spill the beans, and that makes her untrustworthy in their eyes. Plus, as Godfrey points out, nobody really knows what she would do if she actually did win HOH. And if it's a question and answer competition tomorrow, as it was the first time around that you guys had a triple, I would not bet against her to win. And I have no idea what her nominees would look like.
Yeah, I think
Me neither.
yeah, for sure. I think you can definitely sleep a lot easier, like you're saying, Godfrey, being able to read what someone's going to do. But when, you have a wild card like that, it's super difficult to play the game with the person who's playing with a different deck of cards. It's just, you just want to get rid of those people as soon as possible. I think, at least, if I'm in there, that's what I want to do. Godfrey, I want to ask you this. What is the key? We've got the triple eviction coming tomorrow. There's lots of discussion about, is a triple eviction fair? Is it not? All this stuff. As somebody who's gone through a triple and living through it. So,
slim the numbers down.
So what is do you think it's the triple eviction? Do you think that's a fair twist? A, and B, what is the key to surviving a triple eviction? Or is there any key? Is it just luck?
Well, aside from winning HOH and veto, like to the first part of your question, I think a triple is absolutely fair. Like I'd rather have a quadruple. Heck, have a 5-person eviction. Like if you're in that house, you want people leaving out the door, and the faster the better. So honestly, for me, the key to winning the triple, it all boils down to one thing: you not being a threat going forward. Like as long as you can convince people, and it's not just about not being a threat. Actually, I said that the wrong way. The key is not about not being a threat, because a lot of people think that that's the key. Oh, as long as I'm not threatening. The key to surviving the triple is don't be expendable. You have to have everybody in the house convinced that you are a key part of their game going forward. As long as they think they can use you, and so you can be a threat, but if you're also an asset to somebody's game, they will want to keep you. And I really think that's how I managed not to go home on the triple, because there's a lot of people who were not necessarily threats who actually went home. Willow wasn't considered a big threat, but she went home. Peely was sitting there about to go home, and she wasn't even considered a big threat. But it's that people knew that her staying was bad for their game, because she was not part of their team. So like you just gotta be not expendable. And that this is the time, it's the same with the double. Nobody's gonna send you home if they think they can still use you down the road. They don't have to trust you, they just have to think that they can use you, that they can kind of manipulate you or drag you through, or that you're in the alliance. So I think that's really the key. Just if you're expendable,
I feel like
people, they're not gonna care if you go home. They're gonna be whatever.
I feel like that Jackie is the Willow in this situation, because Willow,
she's too expendable at this point. Yeah.
Willow on your season, Brittany she certainly didn't dislike Willow, but she didn't really know where her head was at.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was not sure about what she was going to do. Like, whose side are you on? And if at least
that's
if
literally the exact thing she said to justify it was, I had no idea what you were gonna offer to me going down the road.
Yeah. I feel like that's even worse sometimes than the devil it's always the devil you don't know. It's like, you don't know what the hell somebody's going to do. At least somebody who you know what they're going to do, you can combat that, or you can talk logically with them and explain something. But somebody who's off in their own world, it's a bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
People don't like uncertainty.
There's still a chance to reason with somebody that you know, but somebody you don't, like you said, you can't.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, Godfrey. I think that's the key. And like like you laid out, I mean, that's something you did on our season. It's a tough thing to do, especially at this point in the game.
Thing to do,
and that I don't know if anybody, I mean, Brent, has anybody really lived up to that criteria that Godfrey just laid out in terms of surviving the triple? Or do you think pretty much anybody could be walking out the door tomorrow? I feel like
going into the end of the episode, the person who's done the best and making sure that they're not expendable, or making sure they're not expendable, is Dre. She has, relationships with William. She has relationships with Ika and Demetri's. She doesn't have relationships with Dylan. There are all these people in the house that are connected to Dre. She's like the epicenter of everything. So if she went on the block, first of all, I don't believe that she would
not go on. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. But if she did, I do believe there would be people who would say, no, I can't lose that piece of my game. So I feel like that she's done the best according to that criteria.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'd say Dre, absolutely. Everybody else, it's really fair game, William to some extent, but yeah, he hasn't really assisted people's game in any, like, you guys watch soccer, right? You know, and you see the guys like, you know, as good of a player as you are, whether you're Cristiano Ronaldo or you're Messi, you need that player who gives you the assist, you know, like you need a Suarez, you need like a Wayne Rooney to give you that assist. Not really assisting anything in the game, you know.
Well, not to
Dre, like she's giving some assists.
Right, she is. You know, the person who's kind of played a little bit badly, and I'm not trying to throw shade on him because I know he's friends with both of you guys. But you know, the only person that Kevin really has in the house is William, and that's because William is infatuated with Kevin. So, I mean, Rob pointed out on Monday's show that the only thing that Kevin has been able to really do to build bonds with people on both of his seasons is like his sexuality. So, I mean, I'm
telling you, man, like he has had to dig to the bottom of the barrel to find ways. And I agree with you, man. Like Kevin's my boy. But honestly, I've said it so many times that a lot of people think he's been playing better this season because he's outlasted his previous position. And given that he survives the triple, he could continue to outlast. But I think his game this time around, it is definitely downgraded. And the reason I say this is that last season, my season, Kevin was a beast. He was in a power alliance, and he was not the main target in the power alliance. He had so many people around him. He just had a huge group. He had a huge crew in the house. And this season, I heard him, had Kevin gone in there without Bruno and without Cindy, I think he would have just slayed the entire season. I almost feel like having two people from his season, having two allies he could readily confide in and he could trust automatically, kind of hurt him because he didn't have that thirst to go out in the field and make more relationships. He kind of felt like, hey, man, I already got Bruno. I already have Cindy. Why go out there and scramble? He had two people that he trusted. And I feel like that really hurt him. And I feel like that didn't just hurt him. That also hurt Bruno. Because if you notice, it's better in getting more alliances in there. And neither did Cindy, you know. So I feel like having the three people, it was a gift, but it was also a curse. Because like you just didn't feel the urgency to build more relationships and expand from that. Yeah. And like I probably would have felt victim to the same thing if I went in there with you and Jordan. I'd be like, wait a minute, why am I going out there looking for more people? I already have a crew right here going on. So that really, like, that kind of screwed him.
Yeah, that's
pieces.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good, strong perspective, Godfrey. I don't think we've heard that all season, but I think that totally makes sense. And it's correct. I think you're right. Kevin walked in. He was like, okay, this is what I've got. And I think, Brent, he's tried to reach out to some people, but I don't know. Well, like, what do you think? Just based on what you've seen from feeds, do you buy what Godfrey's selling here?
No, I don't totally buy it because although he did it, I feel like he was in a stronger position in Big Brother Canada 3 and he was a beast, but he was still a little bit shifty. People never really trusted him and they never really felt like they got an honest answer out of him. I mean, people in his alliance liked him, but everybody like Zach and Ashley and Peely, yes. But everybody else was like, I don't know about this guy. He's a little shifty. This season, that's been the whole thing. It's always been like him and Bruno in the hot tub talking. Every damn time you go out there and see Bruno and Kevin in the hot tub talking.
Screaming at the screen going like, Bruno, get out of there. Why are you stuck to Kevin? Like,
well, I do feel like that Bruno
leave Kevin alone, man.
Bruno has hurt Kevin's game, I feel like, more than anything, because what he did last week, I already bitched about it on Monday's podcast, but all of the help that Bruno gave Kevin going into nominations, that was all for if somebody else won HOH. It had nothing to do with Kevin. Totally mistook what Bruno was trying to do to set him up, and it's so, again, you have to look at this from the perspective of last week when Karen was going after Kevin and just cussing at him and swearing at him and how much she hates him.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin has decided.
In the hot tub, yeah.
Kevin became HOH, and he decided, I want to keep this lady around. I want to keep her around knowing that she hates me. You know, that is what is incredulous to me about this week.
Yeah, I as soon as he won, I was like, oh, great, Karen's going up.
What do you think? You know, like...
Yeah, I
You
mean,
played alongside Kevin in what was the alliance? You know, the Fortress.
yes,
You
the
guys
Fortress. The Fortress, baby.
Yes.
take us inside Kevin's head. Like, I want to see, like, what do you think right now he's trying to do? Like, what's his end game?
Oh man, I think Kevin is. I think he's just kind of lost, Godfrey. To be honest, I think he's in a spot where he kind of got. I think he really put all of his eggs into the six basket. He thought, okay, I can ride with these guys. This will take me to the end. He wanted to keep Gary around. He had a good relationship with him, but he let him go because he was like, no, it's not worth it. I'm going to roll with
that's
these
what the
guys.
six wanted. And the weird part about that is that Kevin wanted to keep Gary, Ika wanted to keep Gary, and Demetri's wanted to keep Gary. Like, there are three people within that 6-person alliance that wanted to keep Gary, but the big voices of Bruno and Neto won out that time. So you think about how much the game changes if Dre goes home and Gary stays.
Yeah, totally, right? So I think, but just, going back to his game, I think, I think he's improved in a lot of areas. I think he stayed the same in some other areas. Like Brent is saying, the shiftiness, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. People just are because Kevin's, I guess, a little awkward. They think, oh, he's up to something. He's scheming. He's plotting. I have to get rid of him. But he's not.
His gears are turning,
Yeah. And I think that, people are just taking that the wrong way. I think if they really knew Kevin for who he was, he just genuinely, he's not doing that. He's just trying to get to know people on a personal level.
And we also got to remember, he's a poker player. He might be just conditioned to have that neutral look, which is not really giving away too much emotion and just more like a relaxed. Whereas you have the opposite of him, someone like Ika, she wears everything on her face. And I feel like that's why she might have come across as trusted in most situations, because they were like, we can tell where Ika's head is at.
Right, exactly. And I think that might play a part in it as well. So I don't know. In terms of his plan for the end game, I mean, I think he's probably just thinking, I just need to win. That's all he needs to do. That's all he can do.
He's scared shitless right now. Like, he has no path. I mean, his path is just like one more day. That's what his path is right now.
Yeah.
Inconceivable path to victory. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a tough road. But
stranger things have happened. You cannot count anybody out.
You really can't.
Demetri's week 1 had no path to victory.
Well, think about it this way, though.
He's in there.
If he survives the triple, because if we know Demetri's staying, so let's assume that Demetrius and Kevin can get on the same page here. If Kevin can avoid the block, or if he wins the veto, he's all of a sudden to the final 5, and he gets to play in the HOH. So if he can make it through Thursday night, he has an amazing shot to take it home.
And don't forget, William will probably still be there.
Yes, and William can play for HOH tomorrow, and William will not play.
With at least one person who he can somewhat trust. So, like, it all comes down to him surviving tomorrow. If he can survive tomorrow, then all of a sudden now he has a path to victory. But if he does not win the veto, it's over. It's game over.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild night.
The death of the veterans.
Yeah, Peely has been texting me.
Last vet standing.
Yeah, Peely's been texting me all week saying, I'm scared. I'm nervous. I just want Thursday to get here, and it's the same for me. I'm just like, I just want to know at this point. I hope he can win that veto, or William wins at HOH, but it's really going to be a tough path for him to get through that triple. All right, we've got a lot of people in the chat saying, let's get to live feeds. Because a lot of stuff has been going on, apparently, even since we've started this podcast. So we are going to jump into live feed spoilers. So if you do not want to know what's been happening on the feeds, if you do not want to know definitively, and it's not really definitively at this point because things have been going back and forth so much, but if you do not want to know, any clues as to who is going home tomorrow, Ika or Jackie, we will bid you farewell. Thank you for joining us, and we will be live tomorrow night after the triple eviction on the West Coast. So not on the East Coast, after the West Coast airing of the triple eviction episode. All right, let's just jump into live feed spoilers. Brent, tell me what's going on at this current moment, based on what you've been able to see with all of this this craziness. Does it look like Ika's staying, or is Ika going?
At the moment, and let me just tell you that coming into this podcast, I was a little downtrodden because it looked like Ika was going, but it looks like Ika is staying, and it looks like it's pretty solid at this point.
Yes.
I know.
Get the fuck out.
When we first started the podcast,
hell out of here.
In the pre-show,
what you just said.
in the pre-show, I told Godfrey, I'm like, that Ika's going and how she screwed up her game from my perspective. And all throughout this podcast, I've been watching the feeds. People have been keeping me updated in the chat room, and it looks like she's staying. So I can set it up how it happened and how we got to the point that she even was staying in the first place, if you want.
Yeah. So Brent, please walk us through the story of this week. What happened? Pick it up from after the nominations. How did it? So it looked like you said from the people in the house, they thought initially Ika was going to go home and Jackie was going to stay. Then it flipped, and then now it's kind of flipped back again, and it's
right.
Again. So
I'm going to try to get to the most important things because there are a lot of extraneous things that happened, and let's just get to the most.
Just get to cut to the chase.
So the main thing that happened that started the whole ball rolling was Ika decided to have a heart-to-heart with Dre. And as you saw from tonight's episode, Dre, like other people in the Big Brother game, responds very well to a heartfelt conversation. She lets her emotions get in the way of what maybe her position in the game should be. So once Ika had a conversation with her and said, look, I just want you to know you're my homegirl. I love you. Everything in the time in the game, I've tried to protect you. It's always been you, me, and Demetri's. But I want you to know this. If we go to the final two, I'm cutting Demetri's and I'm taking you to the end. And you want to know why? Because my homegirls at home would never let me live it down if I had a chance to take another woman of color to the final two. And she also intimated that, and you'll love this, Godfrey, she intimated, and I don't believe that she thinks this is true, but she's using this to try to get Dre's vote, because she knows it's iffy at this point. She told Dre, remember Godfrey, remember Gary, neither one of them won when they got to the final two. Basically saying to Dre that it needs to be two people of color at the end in order for one of them to win. And after this conversation, Dre was sold. She was like, I don't know about the rest of the house.
On that.
Right. She's like, she's going to vote to keep Ike at this point. So then Karen and Dylan get wind of this. Now, you have to keep in mind that Demetri's is a massive threat to win HOH. They don't know that a triple's coming. They don't know that it's question and answer. They just know he's won 5 competitions. So they're very scared of him winning HOH again. And we know he's staying because he has the veto. So even if they want to evict Ika, meaning William, Karen, and Dylan, they don't want it to be a 3-2 vote with them being the cause of Ika going home, because then Demetri's will take out his wrath on those people. They don't want Dre to take the easy way out. They want it to be 4-1 to evict Ika or no game. They're not going to do it. So now Karen and Dylan
they
are
wanted unanimous. Oh, okay.
Right. Now there's some other things that happened, like Ika and Demetri's made a sort of a fake Final Four with Dylan and Karen or Dylan and Dre at one point, but that's not important. The important part is that's where things stand. William eventually got on board. Ika had one bad talk with William, then she had one good talk with William, and that's where we stood coming into today. So it was going to be 5-0 to evict Jackie. Ika has this conversation today where she needs to solidify William's vote, and everything was fine. She's saying that it's good. She exposes to William that with Kevin's blessing that she made a deal with Kevin, that she's not going to put Kevin on the block because William is not self-interested, Godfrey. He is obsessed.
Oh, he's worried about
Exactly. He's worried about his sweet Babu. He's worried about Kevin. So he wants to make sure that Ika or Demetri's isn't going to put Kevin, and by extension him, on the block. And Ika has a great conversation with him where she says, I made a deal with Kevin. I'm not going to do that. I know from a game position wise, I need to keep Kevin in the house. But then she talks for like a minute too long. And this is where we came on the show tonight. And she exposed to William that even though Ika won't put Kevin on the block, Dre will put Kevin on the block, which by the way is true. That's what Dre has been saying. So William was incredulous. He was like, I can't believe that. Dre would never lie to me. And Ika was like, well, please don't tell her. And then she went back and told Demetri's, I kind of slipped up. I didn't mean to tell him that, but what's done is done. So as you can imagine, William then went to Dre to confirm this. Dre was incredulous that Ika sold her out in front of William. And Dre was like, look, I'm done. I'm going to vote to evict Ika now. She went to Dylan, tried to get him to vote to evict Ika. And that's where we stood coming into the podcast tonight. So I'm sure you're wondering, well, Brent, how did this turn back around? How is Ika staying?
Yeah. For I that's what I want to know, because that sounds Pretty damning, but go ahead, Brent.
Dre talked to Dylan, and the whole time it was so funny. I was watching it. Dylan kept making Dre turn to him and say, look at me, because all week long, I'm Dylan, so think of it this way. Dre, I've been talking to you all week long, telling you we should evict Ika. And every time you've said, no, Ika's my girl. I can't evict my girl. And now you're coming to me telling me that you want to evict Ika? I don't believe it. He kept making her look him in the eyes. Eventually, we found out that he doesn't believe her, which is incredulous to me. The funny part is Dre's telling the truth, but he doesn't believe her. And then he goes to Karen, and Karen doesn't believe her either. So Karen and Dylan are certain that they are being set up by Dre to be the two in a 3-2 vote.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
So who don't vote for Ika. Oh.
Right, exactly.
To be the two who try to get out Ika. Oh.
Exactly. Okay. Who failed to get out Ika but tried, who thought they were going to. Exactly. Because they fear Demetri's winning HOH so much. So then... And this is where it's a little dicey because, again, I've been on the show with you guys and the feed's been going on. But Dylan and Karen have a conversation with Dre for a little bit, but then they talk to William. Dre gets called to the diary room. Eventually, Ika's let in on the fact that Dre is now plotting against her. And they're thinking it's still a scheme. So Karen and Dylan are solid at this point. At this point, they are solid to keep Ika. And that's all we need. William is also pissed at Dre because Dre said, I want to confirm it with William that he wasn't making something up. I want to make him swear on his kids, on his grandkids, whatever. I don't know how he's going to have grandkids. But I want to make him swear on everything that he wasn't just making this up, that this wasn't a ploy of Kevin's. I want to make sure that he was telling me the truth about Ika saying that I would put Kevin on the block. And he's pissed that he is not being believed. So basically, it's so funny because coming into this podcast, Dre was in the best position in the house, and now coming out of it, with her in the diary room and everyone else talking about her, I think she might be the #1 target.
That's never a good thing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So interesting development. So now Dre is
what a twist of events.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's crazy. So do we think? I mean, there's still time. Do we think, Brent, that this could flip back or no? Now that Dylan and Karen are good, I guess, Dylan, Karen, Demetri, that's all they need, right? Ika's safe.
That's all they need, and I don't believe it's going to flip back. I feel like that some of Dre's duplicitousness has been exposed at this point. The chat room keeps saying, I'm here for the hashtag Dre exposed party. I think she's still in the diary room, although I don't have my feeds on, but that's what they said last time I checked, and that's the last time I looked, she was still in the diary room. I still feel like this is solid. And also, William has backtracked a little bit with Dre on their initial conversation. So even Dre at this point doesn't believe that Ika actually said that, even though she actually did. So a big cluster F has actually saved Ika here when her own game should have caused it to become undone. I mean, she should be gone. Boy. She's screwed up, and she knows she's screwed
She should
up.
be.
The problem is she doesn't know she screwed up that badly. She's not aware of the fact that she screwed up that badly, or at least she wasn't until they came and talked to her about it.
Wow. Okay, so Ika is going to stay. So how do we think... What do we think about the outlook for Ika's game moving forward? I mean, Godfrey, this is amazing.
It's actually looking good for Kevin now. Like, because if Ika stays, it's a little less likely that Kevin would go home before a big pair like Demetrius and Ika. So it's like a snowball effect.
Yeah, right. I do think that it certainly could help Kevin here. I am curious though, Brent, from what we've seen on feeds. I know Ika, Demetri, and Kevin made an alliance called the Business Partners, where they're going to keep each other safe for 1 week.
For business.
Yes. But do we know, like, are Ika and Demetri sold on that? Or do you think if one of them wins HOH, they're just going to sell Kevin down the river?
No, I do believe, because Ika was talking to Demetrius, and she was saying that she was going to honor their deal with Kevin, but that was contingent on the fact that William was going to vote to keep her. Now it seems like William is vacillating, but William actually is talking to Dre right now. The chat room has just told me. However, I would like to read this to you. Karen says to Ika, I'm voting to evict Jackie. So is Dylan. So are you talking to Demetri's. I'm not talking to them anymore. So they were thinking that they were being had. I've always said this, that this whole season, everyone's been worried about being had. Like, nobody wants to look like a fool in the Big Brother house.
Absolutely. Nobody.
And so they're sold 100%. I'm hoping, I'm not going to say that nothing can change this, because I think certainly things can change it, but I'm feeling pretty confident that Ika's going to stay. And
go to bed, wake up at 2 o'clock, close to eviction, and just go right in there. Don't talk to anybody.
I told Ika to go to sleep at this point. She doesn't need to say anything else because her mouth got her in trouble. I do believe, to answer your question, I do believe that Demetri's, who's the most likely to win HOH, would not nominate Kevin. I do think that he would stick to Kevin. The one good thing about Kevin, and I've thrown some shade on him tonight, but he's very non-emotional about things. Like, he's like, if you stay, if you're good. I'm good, guys. It's a game. I don't hold it against you. He doesn't get mad like Ika does. So Demetri's is actually very much like that. And he's a very easygoing guy himself. And I feel like he appreciates that about Kevin. So even though he put him on the block, he was never mean about it. No. And I feel like if Ika stays with Kevin's help, that he will honor their deal, especially for the triple.
Wow. Oh man, tomorrow is gonna be wild, Godfrey.
It's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I
gotta try to get tickets to go to the live show now. Jeez.
Yeah, can you? I guess you're in Toronto, right?
It's looking good now. Yeah.
So in terms of Ika's game, then, I mean, well, first off, it's amazing that Ika and Demetri's both are going to survive this week, especially because you tweeted this.
Just unbelievable.
You tweeted this. Demetri's was the guy who couldn't even. He said, "Insert name" on the prompter. Like, he couldn't even get his own name.
He couldn't even get his own name right.
Get his own name on that veto. He wins the veto. He saves himself. Ika's going to be safe now. So I mean, if these, I'm just praying that these three get through the triple, because if they do, I think we can safely say one of these guys is going to win this game, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. If the three of them get to the triple, it's almost a done deal.
Yeah. So we got. Oh man, I'm just hoping.
One thing to keep in mind is that, remember that once Jackie's gone, let's assume she's evicted. There's only 7 people left in the house at that point. If Ika Demetri's wins HOH, they're going to have to betray somebody. I mean, there's no way around it. And Karen and Dylan think that Ika Demetri's will nominate Kevin and William. Kevin and William are under the impression that they'll go after Karen and Dylan. So, and you notice I never said Dre in any of that. That's how good her game was coming into tonight. So I'm still not sure exactly what they would end up doing. I think that last I heard Ika, she said she would put Dylan and Karen on the block, but that was before they came to her rescue tonight. So who knows what will happen tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. It's like, who do you save? Like, the person who, like, because Kevin did play a heavy hand in making this deal work by giving his blessing, but at the same time, the people actually casting the votes are gonna be Dylan and Karen. So it all comes down to, who does she think played the greatest hand in keeping her alive that week, And if she thinks it was Karen and Dylan, then, it will go the other way. And if she thinks it was Kevin who really finessed this whole thing, it will go the other way. So I really think this is the time when both parties need to take credit and hammer it home that, hey, I made this happen, not that person. Because sometimes people don't know, they stay and they have no idea who saved them. I remember one time Peely stayed that I voted to keep her.
Right?
Are you freaking kidding me?
Well, I remember
one rule in the Big Brother house. This is Big Brother etiquette. If you are saved, you gotta know who voted for you to stay. That's just basic etiquette. But I'm telling you, sometimes people don't know, so you gotta hammer it down.
Well, the weird thing is,
go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
I just want to say that it's so weird though, because I feel like, I'll say this: if William doesn't vote to keep Ika, or if she feels like he's a latecomer to the party, like it was going to be Karen, Dylan, and Demetri's, and then he says, "Oh, okay, well, I'll vote to keep you now. I feel like at that point, that will not stay their hand. Like, I feel like at that point, because they really want to put William on the block, but they're not doing it because they respect Kevin. And Ika said, okay, we have a final 2 with Demetri's. You need a ride or die partner too. We won't go after William, even though they really want to, because nobody really likes him. So if he doesn't if he doesn't have a strong hand in keeping Ika, then I do feel like that they would nominate him. And Drake could even end up on the block tomorrow, depending on how things sort themselves out tonight.
All right. Godfrey, you got time for some questions?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's jump into the questions. This question comes from Puya Zandvakili. Puya asks, Godfrey, who from this season would you like to get launched?
Oh,
and if you do not know what that means, go listen to the 3-hour podcast that Godfrey and I did last year, where we talked about his game and Godfrey's life. It was very
evicted
good.
Or in the house, the whole game
from this whole game,
boy.
So this whole season. Who do you want to get launched, Godfrey?
Honestly, I'd have to say for some reason, Jackie.
Poor Jackie. Oh no.
I wrote the blueprint for the sleeper game for you. You did not execute it well. Jackie, you got to get launched, girl. You got to get launched.
Oh no. Poor Jackie getting launched. That's a
And you failed to secure your safety once you're on the block with Ika. That's reason enough to get launched. Nobody should be getting evicted sitting next to Ika. So yeah, Jackie.
Jackie.
By the way,
down. All right, go ahead, Brent.
I just want to say really quickly that the thing that Ika has done so well is bond with Dre on a level where it made Dre feel bad. All of a sudden, when this thing came out, when Ika slipped up and said Dre is actually the one who's going to target Kevin, it looked to Dre like Ika was selling her out, which was the ultimate betrayal in her eyes. So that's why she lost her vote there. Even it's not going to matter in the end, and she may ultimately vote to keep her, I don't know. But that's why she got so pissed, because Ika appealed to her on an emotional level and then sold her out. And that hurt so much.
And she did that so good.
Yes,
too.
she did it so well.
Made her believe that, hey, we're the only 2 black girls. We got to make it to the end. And Dre's thinking in her head now that Ika's really wants to go with me on a personal level, not on the game. So it definitely does hurt more when you feel that close to somebody.
All right, let's take this next question. This question comes from Gina Parhar, who is my mom. She said, she wants to know, Godfrey, who do you want to be in the final 2 this season, and who do you think will be the actual final 2 this season?
Whew. Right now, at this point, I'd like to see Kevin and Ika in the final 2 battling it out, just because they've played so different games. Kevin has almost transformed into me, having no allies and having to do it kind of on his own, whereas Ika has done it having a lot of power. So I'd like to see the 2 of them sit next to each other. But if I had to be really realistic at this point, with the triple still being kind of uncertain because things are changing every minute, I think if I were a betting man, I'd say Dre and Dylan.
Oh man, Dre and Dylan. Brent, what will you do if it's
like I've been having dreams, man? Like that's what I'm foretelling right now. That's what I'm foreseeing in my dreams.
The Messiah has returned. Godfrey says it's Dre and Dylan. Brent, what are you gonna do if it's Dre and Dylan in the final 2?
Well, last year when it was Kelsey and the Pax brothers, I famously came onto this podcast with a black hat and veiled like Gary when he had to go on slop. So I will not do that, because Dre's actually she's a good player. I mean, she's not a great player, but she's an okay player. And she's been trying to play the game. She's not been floating along. She's backstabbed people, lying in the diary room, living it up a little bit. Give me a little bit of good DR.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dylan, I can... whatever, girl bye. My nightmare would be like a Dylan Jackie final 2 or a Dylan Karen final 2 or even William. Like, I can't stand William. Like,
I like William. William's
like
fun.
And then can I please just like take 20 seconds and say that Ika also just tried to destroy her game earlier this week by telling Kevin that he's looking really bad right now because everyone thinks that Kevin is using William. And, Kevin decided to have a conversation with William. It was so funny watching the love-struck William try to have a conversation with Kevin where Kevin said, we're not a showmance, just so you know.
Yeah, you're in the friend zone.
Right, yeah. And of course, William's like, well, I would never let myself love you. I would never go there. I know if I went there, I could easily fall for you. So I'm like, okay, so you're already there.
He's in love, Godfrey.
You're already there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in love.
It was really awkward. And William got mad because at one point somebody compared William to Peely, and Kevin made a face. And William got really, really offended by that Kevin wouldn't put him on the same level as Peely. Kevin tried to repair it by saying, you are on the same level as Peely, you're just different. But I don't think he's buying it.
Oh man, poor William. I do feel bad for him because he does love Kevin. He is in love.
William needs to get his head back in the game.
Exactly. You know what? He's a big boy. It's so funny. All the straight people that I talk to, they're like, I feel so bad for William. I'm the one gay guy on the panel, and I'm like, he's an idiot. I mean, like, he knew what he was doing coming into the house, and good for Kevin for using his ass. So to speak.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of love, we have another question. This one is from Love Tour Alex. Love Tour Alex says, Godfrey, you gave good love advice on the Lovecast with Jordan in February. What advice would you give Demika since they seem to fight all the time? So do you have any love advice for Demetri and Ika?
Demetri and Ika, man, I'd say, Demetri, you're dating a Jamaican girl. You got to remember, she's always right. Give her the credit. First of all, the best piece of advice I would have given to Demetri for his future with Ika is he should have used that veto. But at this point, like, man, Demetri, like, hey, I don't know anything that's going to repair that, like that veto's kind of put a dent in the relationship. But honestly, like I said, like, you just gotta, if you're with a feisty girl like Ika, you gotta let her feel like she's in control. She doesn't want you to be in control. You gotta make her feel like she's right all the time. And basically, you gotta be a puppet. I'm sorry, guy.
All right, so there we go.
And on that note, I should add, just to make sure that we're clear on everything, Demetri got that prize. He got to take a ride in the Toyota car and pick a jury member to go with him, and that's important. Just, it's a minor point, but he picked Cindy to go with him on this car ride.
Oh, okay.
And he can't talk about what happened in the car ride, but it's clear from what he has said and his actions in the house that Cindy basically told him that nobody really respects your game, that you're seen as Ika's little puppy dog. You're like her little soldier, her little worker. And obviously, and she also intimated that he's maybe not that smart. And he did not take kindly to that at all because from his point of view, he's been doing all the work in the house for him and Ika. Fight competitions.
Yeah,
true. So he eventually had a conversation with Ika where he talked about his feelings about this, and they eventually worked it out. But obviously, Ika still found a way to make it about her, even though it really wasn't about her. It was about him. And he was able to navigate that pretty well and made sure.
I can almost imagine what Ika would say. She'd be like, yeah, Cindy's just salty. She's trying to come between us.
Basically,
She's jealous.
Yeah, why are you listening to her?
This honestly was a useless thing, Like, I think it would be more helpful when there's at least 5 people in the jury, because you could kind of get the sense of the jury climate, Like, how are you going to know from 2 people? Cindy pretty much gave her opinions that I don't respect your game, but that doesn't speak to everyone else who's going to come into jury after this, So
I agree.
Never liked when they have this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Godfrey. It should have been, I think, something at like maybe the final 4 or the final 5. Just because when you are in that jury house and there aren't a lot of people, and right now, there's those 3. There's Bruno, there's Netta, and there's Cindy. But all 3 of them have the same perspective or a similar perspective because they were in the same alliance, they were on the same side of the house. When you have more people in there, it gives you a better sense. Okay, what is the collective? What is the jury generally thinking at this point? When it was just, when I was in the jury house with 2 people, it was 2 of us. We had, our own opinions, but we didn't know anything. But when you have 5, when you get the people coming in after that triple
picture, right? Yeah.
You get a better picture of, okay, what is that's when, everyone comes together. You start talking about, okay, what do we think is going on? That's kind of when the first Sarah's playing the best game stuff. That's kind of where that started to creep in, was kind of when we had that group of 5. It didn't start until we had a larger group. Yeah. So it is interesting that they chose to do this when they did. But I don't know. I feel like this, Demetri, there was a lot of, I saw Brent, there was a lot of doubt from Demetri. Like he was almost kind of doubting himself. So it was almost like this was it was a hindrance to his game.
Oh, a total hindrance to his game. Yeah, he was flying high after all these comp wins and everything, and him and Ika maybe surviving this week. But then Cindy just
and now he's thinking, should I
change
my game? Should I reevaluate?
Well, it has helped out a little bit because it sort of had this indirect effect, because Karen and some other people saw that he was upset, that him and Ika were fighting a little bit, and he was mad because he didn't want people to think that he was Ika's puppy dog. So now Karen's like, well, this is good. It's okay to keep Ika now, because Demetri's not going to be doing everything that she tells him. Even though I don't believe that for a second, and I can't believe Karen actually does, that Demetri's is going to not do what Ika says. I mean, he clearly is at that point.
All right, let's take a couple more questions. This one is from Jordan Chong. Jordan says, how much of Ika being nuts is just for show, and how much is it that she's a mean girl? Godfrey, what do you think about that question? You know Ika pretty well.
For Ika, how much is just for
show?
It really depends with what you consider mean, Like Ika has a really strong personality. She's the type of person who says what she feels right away. Like all of us, when we go through our day-to-day life, you might come across, get on the bus, and you might have somebody pissing you off. And some of us, probably choose to hold it back, and we don't say it right away that, hey, what the hell? But Ika, she just says what she feels, and she's really an acquired taste. You got to get used to her. You got to know her for a couple of times, and then you'll get to appreciate her bluntness and her brutal honesty. But I can understand for somebody who hasn't really known her, it might come across as mean, but I've never really considered her to be a mean girl, because once again, I've seen a different side to her. And some people might think she's mean, and she probably is mean to those people. So like, if you get along with her, and if you're good to her, she's not going to be mean to you.
Yeah,
but
I think
if you're throwing shade, if you're a little, she's going to be a bitch. That's Ika.
Well, that's what I like about Ika, is that Ika, she's a real person. She's real. She's just straight up with you. If Ika says something to you, she's being genuine. That's what I really appreciate about her. And I think, people are saying, hey, is Ika a mean girl? Oh, she's so, Karen saying on the episode, you're being vicious towards me and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
that is why Ika really took that to heart, because her intention is never to be vicious.
No, it's not.
Like, she's real and straight up, but it's never meant with malice or to upset somebody. It's just meant to get her point across, and so she can hash it out.
Yeah, and I think, we saw, Ika, Ika is a really deep down, Ika's a super kind person. I mean, you look at the episode, when Ika's talking about her story of coming to Canada and how she's so thankful to be in this country, and how, she teared up when she got her citizenship and everything she's been through. And
you never know that. Yeah.
You'd never know that, because she kind of hides it, I think, behind, a bit of a, she hides that. She doesn't want to show the world that. But I think that was a really, really beautiful.
Like, it was my first time seeing that too, Jordan. Like, literally, I had never known that story of hers until I saw it. I was like, wow, Ika, how come you never brought this up?
Right. So I think that was a really beautiful moment, I think, on the episode tonight. Super touching. And I think, think back when you think of Ika, is she going to say what's on her mind sometimes? Yeah. But I think deep down there is a really kind and genuine person in there. And we did see that on the episode tonight. So just keep that in mind when you are watching it. Although I do think she just genuinely hates Jackie. I will say.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's not.
Like I said, if she's mean to you, she's going to, if she hates you, she'll be mean.
But that's because Jackie is extra to Ika. I mean, Jackie goes out of her way to antagonize Ika sometimes.
Yeah, and we don't see, and that's the thing with the edit, is we haven't really seen some of the stuff that Jackie's been saying to Ika on a lot of these episodes, right? So I think that's, we're getting the perspective of, Ika's just so ruthless to Jackie. And it's like, well, Jackie's been doing some stuff too. So everybody's not.
You're not seeing the root chorus, yeah.
Yeah, there is some back and forth.
And I feel like even Karen sometimes takes pleasure in antagonizing Ika because she knows
100%.
the reaction she's gonna get.
100%. And Karen, the thing that Karen, I was watching this episode with my mom, and I was just like, we were both just looking at each other when Karen's like, Ika, you are so mean, and just some of the words you use. I'm like, Karen, you know what? Maybe I can get it, but you know what? You can't be saying that. I'm sorry. Based on some of the things you've been saying, it's either pick one or the other. Pick one or the other. It's either she's mean or she's not. Because you've been out yourself quite a bit to Kevin. So it's it's like I'm fine with it. I'm fine with what I can say, and I'm fine with what you said to Kevin.
Yeah, like what she did.
Yeah,
to
but
Kevin.
just own
I
it.
was
But just
watching
own
that,
it.
honestly, going like, wow, dude, to deserve this.
I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, so just own it, Karen. Just own it either way, and I'll be fine. I just don't like this in between stuff. I just really don't like that. All right, let's take let's take one more question. This question was, is Dre, this is from Vanessa Mack. She says, is Dre currently still in the best position in the house? Well, based on what Brent just said, I don't think so. So who do we think is in the best position in this house right now? Because I mean, I don't really know. I guess maybe, is it Dylan, Brent? What do you think?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Maybe Karen. Is Karen in the best position in the house right now? It's so weird. I just don't know where everybody's head is at. I don't know where Ika and Demetri are. They going to honor their deal with Kevin? So is by extension William safe? I don't know.
I think we have to say, I think we might have to say
knows?
Karen, because Godfrey, is there any scenario where Karen goes up on the block tomorrow in that triple? Like, I can't really think of one. I think maybe
it's really
as a replacement,
really
but it's super unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to put her up. And I think also, too, when she gets down to Final Five, people are still going to say, oh, look, that's just Karen. We'll keep her around. I think
absolutely.
I think there's a way for her to go up on the block because, you don't want to piss people off who may win a comp later on. So I feel like she might go up in the third spot, especially if Dylan goes up on the block. And I'm not even certain he will. But if Dylan goes up, I feel like Karen will definitely go up.
Okay. Well, we will see.
She go home though?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I worry. Who's going to vote to save her though?
If Dylan is on the block, no one. Yeah, probably not a lot of people are going to vote to save her.
And
I feel like it's a wasted
one
vote for me to evict Karen. Honestly,
there's only 3 people voting.
Like, wow, like, is this what I'm going to do with my vote?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this edition of the RHAPpy Hour. We really appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for hashtags in the chat room,
I have the hashtag.
You have it. Okay, Brent.
I have it set.
What is it?
Because it's in reference to this conversation about when Demetrius and Ika were talking about what Cindy had said to Demetrius and how Ika got all upset that he was listening to her. Ika said, I have been thinking of you this whole game, Demetrius, when you were gone, and you decide to go listen to Stupid with an S.
Oh, no.
So it has to be hashtag, especially with Godfrey on the podcast, it has to be hashtag Stupid with an S.
I don't know if we really want to do that hashtag.
Yeah, all right, if you
I'm not doing that hashtag. I'm not doing that
hashtag. I know they can't support it because they're alumni, but if you love me, you can use
I've already gotten a lot of hate mail for throwing shade at Cindy.
Oh, it's okay. You guys.
I feel like if I hashtag that, I'm getting death threats after this.
Well, and Godfrey, let's clear up the air here because
honestly, I'm literally on my third strike. Like, if I tweet one more thing about Cindy, I might get a hitman to try and kill me.
Oh my gosh!
See, y'all love it in the head. It's okay. I understand. You pick something else.
Okay. Well, Godfrey, why don't we just do that hashtag Hitman? I think that works. If there's a hitman coming after Godfrey after some of his tweets. I mean, Godfrey, I've read some of your tweets. I mean, I think you're just joking. You're not.
You're playful.
Serious.
He's playful.
You're having
banter.
fun.
I'm not out there trying to actually saying, oh, this person's a horrible person. I'm literally just joking around, getting retweets. If I think about something funny, one tweet I sent out, it was not even that bad. I just said, when they had the people laughing, during the competition, the veto comp, and I was like, how did production manage to get the families to laugh and get this audio? they master showed him Cindy's game. And not even meant to be mean. Like, I could have said the same thing about anybody else.
Of the vets.
I was just like,
Right.
what gets more laughs here? So, like, yeah, it's really, like, people take stuff seriously, man.
Oh,
I even
man.
got, like, hate mail for saying something about Bruno. And I'm like, Bruno's my boy. Why would I try to, like, why would I be hating?
Right? But he's not perfect.
Literally anybody, yeah. I think the only person I don't get hate from tweeting about is Jackie. That's about it. Anybody else?
Poor Jackie. Well, Godfrey, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. This is
No
my
problem.
last season of doing the RHAPpy Hour. I don't know if I've told you that, but
You're
so
retired, man.
I'm
Come
retiring,
on.
man. Yeah, so this is the last time we're having you on the podcast, man. It's so sad, but
But you can come back with us.
Yeah,
One more
Godfrey, you can come back
podcast.
with them. Yeah, we'll figure
Oh,
something out,
absolutely,
maybe.
hey.
Yeah, so
Just
when,
message me on Twitter, man. I'll definitely be down.
yeah, so you guys, the listeners, will still get Godfrey. I just won't. Godfrey, we'll have to do our own private podcast. I'll just call you, and we'll have to talk BB some more. But anyway, you can follow Godfrey on Twitter. He's at the Lady Pleasa. He's definitely a good follow, especially if you want to see some of these tweets that he's talking about that he's getting a hit put on him.
You want to see your favorite house guest get roasted? Follow me.
Yes.
I probably said something about them.
Yes, Godfrey doesn't hold back. It's very great. Follow Brent on Twitter. He's at OneLuckyGay. You can follow me as well. I'm at Jordan Parhar. We'll be back tomorrow after the triple eviction. And just to let you guys know, I have work tomorrow night, so I will not be able to watch the triple live on the East Coast. I'll have to watch the West Coast feed. So we will be live after the West Coast feed of the triple eviction tomorrow. I know, bad timing. I'm sorry. Just that's how it worked with my schedule. So tomorrow at 9:15 p.m. Pacific, 12:15 a.m. Eastern, we will be live. I will be with Alex, Taryn, and Melissa. We'll be breaking down the triple eviction, talking about all the implications of what happened, what's going to happen down the stretch, because we've got 2 weeks left, all that good stuff. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already, if you're in the Toronto area, you want to go to the Rob is a Podcast live BB Can show. Our tickets still available for that. robiswebsite.com/TorontoBBCan. There's going to be some BB Canada alumni there. Godfrey Manguiza might even be there. Who knows? We'll see what's going on. So, so I know Sarah Hanlon's going to be there. So it should be a lot of fun. So if you are in the Toronto area, highly recommend you go to that and you check that out. Again, that's robiswebsite.com/TorontoBBCan. All right. That is going to do it for this edition of the RHAPpy Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. For Godfrey Manguiza and Brent Wolgamott, I'm Jordan Parhar. #Hitman. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.